Clark, trying to dodge the media after a win versus Italy, decided to drag her face across the all the logos because by the looks of things, I don't know if she wanted to ask any questions, but it seems like she decided to drag her face across a bunch of logos, which is kind of wild to think about, isn't it? It is kind of wild. But if you're seeing here, obviously hiding like to avoid the interview, she pulled a 21 Savage, according to Vanchay here. 21 Savage walking past the media, basically hugging the wall. In fairness,
Caitlin Clark, after the win against Italy, appeared to avoid the media in a way that quickly caught everyone's attention. Instead of stopping for interviews, she pressed herself against the sponsor board and moved along the wall, clearly trying to bypass reporters altogether. It was an unusual and almost surreal moment, but also one that made a lot of sense when you consider the context. Most athletes, after a game, follow a familiar routine. Pause briefly, smile for the cameras, answer a few predictable questions, and move on. Clark chose something completely different. Rather than engaging in that ritual, she made a deliberate decision to avoid it entirely, and given everything she has experienced with media coverage over the past couple of seasons, many people found her reaction understandable, if not justified. The internet reacted instantly, with clips and images spreading across platforms within minutes. Some viewers found the moment hilarious.
Hugging the wall. In fairness, Caitlin has her face against the wall. Someone, 10,000 likes. Her putting her face against the wall. She was walking past their comms guys who was trying to grab players, talk to the press. She was not interested. Yeah, I'd say she was probably.
While others respected the level of commitment it took to avoid every single interaction. The comparison to celebrities or public figures hugging walls to avoid attention started circulating. And it fit perfectly because Clark showed that same level of focus and determination. When she decided she wasn't going to engage, she fully committed to that decision. The moment passed through after a game while reporters line up hoping to capture quick interviews and sound bites. It's a standard part of professional sports, and most players accept it as part of the job. Typically, athletes stop for a few seconds, provide safe, neutral answers, and continue walking. It's almost automatic, but Clark clearly wasn't interested in participating. Instead of weaving through the crowd of journalists, she chose the wall, literally pressing her body against it and sliding along its length to avoid being stopped. It wasn't subtle, and it certainly wasn't accidental. It was intentional, controlled, and executed with the same level of concentration she brings to the court. That image alone was enough to spark millions of reactions online, and it quickly became one of the most talked about moments from the game, even overshadowing parts of the performance itself. To understand why this happened, you have to look at Clark's relationship with the media. This wasn't a random act of frustration. It was the result of a pattern that has developed over time. Coverage surrounding her career has often been inconsistent, sometimes critical, and occasionally unfair. There have been moments where her contributions on the court didn't seem to be fully recognized. In one instance, despite clearly controlling the flow of the game with her playmaking and assists, recognition went to another player. Decisions like that don't go unnoticed, especially by someone as competitive and aware as Clark. They send a message, whether intentional or not, and over time those messages build into a larger perception. It becomes clear that the narrative being created doesn't always align with what is actually happening on the court. Then there are the smaller moments that get magnified beyond reason. A simple missed high five, something that happens naturally in fast-paced environments, turned into a viral talking point. People analyzed it, debated it, and tried to assign meaning to something that likely had none. That level of scrutiny is something Clark deals with constantly. Every movement, every expression, every interaction is examined and often turned into a storyline. Not all of those storylines are fair or accurate, but they still gain traction. Over time, that kind of attention can become exhausting. Despite this, Clark has continued to maintain her professionalism. She has shown up, competed at a high level, and fulfilled her responsibilities when required. She hasn't avoided the media entirely, but she has clearly become more selective about when and how she engages. That's what makes this moment significant. Sliding along the sponsor board wasn't just a random act or a joke. It was a calculated decision. It reflected an understanding of the situation and a willingness to control her own narrative. Instead of providing content that could be taken out of context or turned into another headline, she chose to rely on traditional media exposure in the same way many athletes do. Her audience is already there, watching her games, following her performances, and forming their own opinion. Mates added another layer to the moment. Their expressions, a mix of confusion and amusement, captured the unexpected nature of what was happening. It was moments like this show that not everything needs to be overanalyzed. Sometimes it's just a spontaneous decision that everyone experiences together. Those shared moments, even the unusual ones, can actually bring a team closer. Of course, the broader question remains, is this kind of beneficial in the long run? But there is a difference between fulfilling obligations and engaging in every possible interaction. Clark's action while and when it isn't. In the end, this moment represents more than just a viral clip. It reflects a shift in how athletes can manage their public image in an era where direct connection with fans becomes a form of response. Clark's decision to avoid the media in that moment wasn't just about dodging questions. It was about control, awareness, and protecting her space. And Base understood exactly why she made that choice.